December 6, 1941, North Pacific Ocean, 230 miles north of Oahu. The night is black, the kind of black that swallows even the stars. Waves slap against steel. Salt spray seeps through the seams of a conning tower. Inside the Japanese submarine I-24, a dim red light flickers over the faces of 20 anxious sailors. The air is thick, diesel fumes, sweat, and the sharp sting of nervous anticipation. Lieutenant Hankyu Sasaki, 29 years old, wipes condensation from his goggles. He's the commander of this massive I-class mother sub, and inside her belly rests something few men in the Imperial Japanese Navy truly believe in, a Kō-hyōteki class Type A midget submarine. Barely 78 feet long, crewed by just 2 men, the mini-sub looks more like a child's toy than a weapon of war. Even within the fleet, sailors mockingly call them omucha sensukan, toy submarines. But the men aboard the I-24 have no time for jokes. In the cramped forward compartment, Ensign Kazuo Sakamaki and Petty Officer Second Class Kiyoshi Inagaki check their controls for the 10th time. 2 Type 97 torpedoes rest snug in their tubes, each with enough explosive power to tear open a battleship's hull. Sakamaki adjusts a switch, his voice steady but tight. Battery levels, 96%. Depth control, responsive. Inagaki nods, sweat glistening under the red lamp. Torpedoes armed, guidance system stable. Outside, the sea heaves like a restless beast. The mother sub's engines hum low, steady, waiting. Sasaki peers through the periscope. Nothing but darkness and rolling swells. He checks his pocket watch. It's 23:45. In 15 minutes, I-24 will release her charge, the Ha-19, Japan's smallest and strangest weapon yet, into the vast Pacific. He knows the plan by heart. 5 of these midget submarines, each carried by a massive I-class, will slip into Pearl Harbor ahead of the dawn air raid. Their mission? Infiltrate the harbor, destroy American battleships, and cause chaos as bombs rain from above. But to many officers, it's suicide. Their range is limited, their battery power short. Escape? Almost impossible. Still, to the Imperial Navy's planners, they're the embodiment of Bushido, devotion unto death. Sasaki glances down the narrow passageway. Ensign Sakamaki, you carry the Emperor's will. Do not return unless the mission is fulfilled. Sakamaki salutes in the cramped space, his hand brushing the ceiling. Hi! At 23:56, the clamps release. The mini-sub slides into the black ocean like a steel shark vanishing into ink. Inside, Sakamaki steadies the vessel. The depth gauge trembles. 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet. Water pressure creaks against the hull. Battery output stable, Inagaki whispers. Set course, heading 180 degrees. Target, Pearl Harbor. The Ha-19 moves forward, silent as death. Above them, the moon hides behind clouds, as if ashamed to witness what's about to come. Far away on the island of Oahu, the city of Honolulu sleeps under warm trade winds. Radios hum with Saturday night jazz. American sailors drink in the bars along Hotel Street. Battleships rest in neat lines at Battleship Row, unaware that 200 miles north, steel ghosts are coming for them. The Pacific is quiet. Too quiet.
December 7th, 1941. 03:42 a.m. Approaching the southern entrance to Pearl Harbor. The Pacific has turned to liquid darkness. The Ha-19 creeps beneath the waves, her electric motors humming like distant bees. Condensation drips from the ceiling, stinging Sakamaki's eyes. He wipes it away with the back of his glove, focusing on the narrow slit of the periscope. Through the lens, the world is a tunnel of shadows. Faint lights shimmer in the distance. Oahu. Inagaki, hunched over the navigation console, whispers, "We are nearing the entrance channel, bearing 320. The current tugs against them. The midget sub rocks slightly, fragile, temperamental, alive. "Trim the tanks, keep her steady at periscope depth," Sakamaki mutters. The two men can hear the ocean's pressure. Every groan of metal is a reminder that one mistake will turn this coffin of steel into their grave. At the harbor mouth, a silent American guard ship, the USS Ward, drifts under the stars. Its crew, bored and weary, scan the waves without conviction. The night has been routine, too quiet for comfort. A sailor aboard the Ward leans on the rail, coffee cup in hand. Then a flicker. A periscope? A ripple on the surface. He frowns, rubbing his eyes. Nothing. Just another wave, maybe. Back below, Sakamaki adjusts the course. The compass needle trembles. He wipes sweat from his temple. The mission is simple in theory. Infiltrate, wait for the air attack, then fire torpedoes into the chaos. But the tide here is unpredictable, and the coral floor rises fast. Suddenly, a warning light flares on the panel, battery output dropping. Inagaki curses under his breath. "We are losing voltage, starboard motor fluctuating." "Stabilize it," Sakamaki replies sharply. He checks the chronometer, 0400 hours. "The air attack will not begin for more than 3 hours. 3 hours, he murmurs, until the sky opens. The Ha-19 edges forward. Through the periscope, the dim silhouette of the channel walls emerges. They are close, dangerously close. Outside, the Americans finally notice something. At 0358, sonar operators aboard the USS Condor, a minesweeper near the harbor entrance, pick up an echo, small, metallic, moving against the current. They blink at the screen, unsure. "Could be a sub, maybe a whale," one operator mutters. "Whales don't move that straight," another replies. The Condor flashes a signal lamp toward the Ward. "Submarine sighted." Aboard the Ward, general quarters is sounded. The ship's deck crew rushes to stations, searchlight sweeping the surf. Below the waves, Sakamaki and Inagaki don't know they've been spotted. At 0355, the Ha-19 crosses the invisible threshold inside the defensive perimeter of Pearl Harbor. Behind her, the first of the other midget subs struggles to navigate the reef and is lost to the deep. One by one, the tiny steel hunters push forward, unseen, toward the American fleet sleeping inside. Sakamaki exhales, heart pounding. "We are in," he whispers. Inagaki nods, a smile flickers across his face, equal parts triumph and terror. Then, through the thin metal walls they hear it, faint, distant propeller beats. American patrols. The hunt has begun. Aboard the Ward, a lookout suddenly shouts, "Periscope, off the port bow!" The ship pivots, engines roaring. Its 4-inch gun fires, the first American shot of World War II. A plume of water erupts where the Ha-19 had been seconds before. The mini-sub dives sharply. Inside, the lights flicker. The shockwave rattles bolts loose. "Depth, 50 feet. Damage!" "No leaks. Control sluggish." "Steady the sub," Sakamaki replies. The first combat of the Pacific War has begun, and almost no one on land has heard it. The Ha-19 pushes deeper into the labyrinth of the harbor mouth, hunted but undeterred. The air grows hotter. The battery hums louder. Inagaki checks the dials. "We will have one chance, that is all." Sakamaki nods grimly.
One is enough. Above them, dawn begins to bleed into the clouds. Within hours, the sky will rain fire.
December 7th, 1941, 06:45 a.m. Pearl Harbor approaches dawn. Inside the Ha-19, the air has turned sour, a mixture of sweat, battery fumes, and the heavy scent of oil. Inagaki's face is slick with condensation, his eyes hollow from exhaustion. They have been submerged for over 6 hours, navigating blind through reefs and crosscurrents. Sakamaki peers through the periscope once more. The faint pink of dawn touches the horizon. He can just make out the outline of Diamond Head, silent, majestic, unaware that soon the world beneath it will erupt. But their mission has already begun to unravel. The compass is unreliable. The gyro has slipped. The batteries are draining faster than planned. And yet they press on, deeper into the American harbor, where the enemy's pride floats at anchor. At 06:53, a distant rumble vibrates through the water. It's faint at first, then a rolling, thunderous echo. Sakamaki stiffens. What was that? Inagaki listens, head tilted. Engines, dozens of them. Then, through the periscope, the first black silhouettes sweep across the dawn. Japanese aircraft, hundreds of them, diving toward Oahu in perfect formation. The air attack has begun. Above the waterline, Commander Mitsuo Fuchida, leading the aerial assault, radios the signal that will echo through history. Tora! 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 It means tiger. It means the Americans are caught completely off guard. Within minutes, the sky explodes. Bombs whistle through the morning air. Torpedoes skim across the harbor's surface. Battleships that moments ago rested peacefully, USS Arizona, Oklahoma, West Virginia, California, suddenly erupt in pillars of fire and black smoke. From beneath, Sakamaki and Inagaki can only feel the destruction. Low, concussive booms rolling through the ocean like thunder. The hull vibrates with every detonation. "We must fire," Sakamaki shouts. "Target any battleship we can reach." But the mini-sub is disoriented. Their navigation has gone haywire. Through the periscope, the water is filled with chaos, sinking ships, debris, plumes of oil. He spots one massive silhouette, the USS West Virginia. She's listing, but still afloat. Sakamaki steadies the sub, bringing the torpedo sights in line. "Ready, tube 1. Ready. Fire!" The Ha-19 shudders, a muffled whoomp as the first torpedo shoots into the black water. Seconds pass, then an enormous bloom of flame rises ahead. Whether it was his shot or an aerial torpedo, Sakamaki can't tell. But something has struck. Something huge. A roar like a collapsing mountain shakes the sea. The USS Arizona explodes, her forward magazine igniting in a cataclysmic blast. The shock wave hammers the midget sub, throwing both men against the steel walls. The lights flicker and die. "Damage report," Sakamaki gasps, his ears ringing. "Main battery, failing. Forward trim jammed." In the darkness, the men work by touch. They can barely breathe. Every surface is slick. Somewhere above, oil burns across the harbor like a floating inferno. Meanwhile, on the surface, the USS Ward reports its earlier submarine contact. The message reaches shore too late. The attack is already underway. At 0:10:10, a torpedo slams into the USS Oklahoma, capsizing her in under 12 minutes. Sailors are trapped inside, pounding desperately against the hull as she turns belly up. The harbor is chaos. Men scream. Fire hoses hiss. Ammunition cooks off in staccato bursts. The air smells of burning fuel and cordite. Beneath it all, the Ha-19 twists and bucks in the current, half blind, half broken, still fighting to survive. Inagaki checks the last remaining battery gauge. It trembles at 0. "We can't stay under much longer. We must surface."
Sakamaki hesitates. Surfacing now means certain death, but if they stay submerged, the suffocating heat will kill them first. He clenches his jaw. Surface. We find another target. The Ha-19 rises slowly. The periscope breaks through the oily surface, revealing hell itself. Burning ships, shattered docks, the sky alive with tracer fire, and the silhouettes of Japanese dive bombers screaming downward. For the first time, Sakamaki sees what their empire has unleashed. He whispers, not to Inagaki, but to himself. So this is how it begins.
December 7th, 1941, 08:25 a.m. Inside the harbor channel, near the entrance to Pearl Harbor. The sea around the Ha-19 is thick with oil, smoke, and fragments of war. Debris drifts above the periscope lens, planks, life vests, even a sailor's cap, scorched black by fire. Sakamaki lowers the scope and wipes the lens with a trembling hand. The cabin is sweltering now, each breath tasting of acid and metal. The battery fumes sting his throat. Inagaki coughs beside him, eyes bloodshot. "We can't stay here," Inagaki rasps. "The current's changing. We're drifting toward the reef." "Reverse power," Sakamaki orders. The motors groan in protest. The midget sub jerks, but nothing happens. The starboard propeller has jammed, likely from debris sucked into the intake. Then, a thunderous impact. The Ha-19 lurches violently forward, nose down. Both men slam into the steel walls. Lights flicker, sparks shower from a fuse box. "We've hit Carl," Inagaki shouts. "Ballast, full reverse ballast." The vessel tilts, scraping against the jagged reef. The sound is horrifying, steel shrieking against stone. The gauges spin wildly. Finally, the sub stops, half buried, pinned. Silence returns, only broken by the faint moan of seawater leaking through the bow hatch seal. Sakamaki slams his fist against the console. Damn it. He wipes blood from his forehead, a shallow gash from the impact. "We'll refloat her. We must." They try everything. Pumps groan, motors whine weakly. The needle on the power gauge sinks lower and lower. The Ha-19 doesn't move. At 09:15, the radio crackles faintly. Garbled Morse, a distant Imperial transmission. The airwaves are jammed with chaos from the main fleet's assault. Sakamaki tries to respond, but the transmitter hisses and dies. Their antenna has been snapped. They are alone. Inagaki sinks against the bulkhead, breathing heavily. "We failed," he murmurs. Sakamaki doesn't answer. He can still feel the distant tremors through the hull, the last echoes of the attack above. By 09:45, the bombs have stopped falling. The sky, once alive with the drone of engines, grows eerily quiet. Only fire crackles across the harbor. Through the periscope, Sakamaki sees it. The remains of the Pacific Fleet, twisted and smoldering. Battleships lie capsized. Columns of smoke rise thousands of feet into the air. And somewhere in that inferno, Japanese aircraft are already banking north, returning to their carriers. The mission has ended, but he and Inagaki remain trapped, entombed beneath the waters of the enemy's harbor. Hours pass. The heat becomes unbearable. The batteries emit toxic gas. Their oxygen gauge drops steadily. "Commander," Inagaki whispers, "we should scuttle her." "Not yet," Sakamaki replies softly. "We still serve." At noon, they make one last attempt to free the vessel. The bow lifts slightly, hope flickers, then slams back down onto the reef with finality. Inagaki exhales shakily. "We're finished." Sakamaki stares at the control panel, expression unreadable. For a moment, both men sit in silence, the only sound their ragged breathing and the distant hiss of leaking air. Then, as if reaching some inner decision, Sakamaki speaks quietly. "If we die for the Emperor, but we will not suffocate like rats." He opens a small steel box near his knee, the scuttling charge, a last resort explosive meant to destroy the vessel and its secrets before capture. But the detonator is wet, the casing cracked from the collision. It will not ignite. The failure hangs between them like a curse. At 1300, with oxygen nearly gone, Sakamaki makes a decision. "We surface. We'll attempt to swim to shore." They vent ballast. The midget sub groans upward. Sunlight filters faintly through the periscope lens, blurry, distorted, alive with drifting soot. Then, another crash. The current has dragged them sideways into a reef shelf. The Ha-19 tips sharply to port. Water pours in through the forward vents. Inagaki shouts, "She's flooding!" Sakamaki lunges for the hatch. The sea roars in, icy and violent. Everything goes black. When he opens his eyes, he's floating, alone. The sub is gone, swallowed by the reef. Waves toss him toward the shore of Waimanalo Beach, his uniform torn, his face burned by battery acid. The sand beneath his hands feels unreal, solid after so many hours of steel and darkness. He tries to stand but collapses. His vision marrows. The war, to him, is already over.
December 7th, 1941. 19:30 hours. Waimanalo Beach, Oahu. The Pacific has gone quiet again. Only the whisper of waves breaks the silence, carrying faint echoes of smoke, still rising from Pearl Harbor, 20 miles away. The air smells of salt and ash. Lieutenant Kazuo Sakamaki drags himself up the wet sand, every muscle trembling. His uniform hangs in tatters, soaked through with seawater and oil. Battery acid has burned his face, a raw red line across his cheek and eyelid. Each blink feels like fire. Behind him, the ocean glows faintly under a half moon. Somewhere beneath those dark waters, his command, the Ha-19, lies wrecked against the coral shelf. Inside it, his crewmate, Petty Officer Kiyoshi Inagaki, never surfaced. Whether drowned or trapped, Sakamaki does not know. He doesn't look back. He stumbles inland, barefoot, vision swimming. The jungle looms ahead, black silhouettes of palms against the sky. He knows the plan. If captured, he must take his own life. Every officer in the Special Attack Flotilla carried the same unspoken code: no surrender. But his pistol was lost in the flood. His charges are gone with the sub, and he can barely stand. He collapses again in the brush, gasping. Every heartbeat sounds like a drum in his skull. He remembers his orders, his captain's words. "You carry the Emperor's will. Do not return unless the mission is fulfilled." He tries to speak, but only a whisper escapes. "I failed." Hours pass. The surf comes and goes. Then, a noise. Footsteps crunching through undergrowth. Sakamaki lifts his head weakly. Lantern light flickers through the trees. Two figures approach. American soldiers. One holds a rifle. The other raises a flashlight. "Hey, who's there?" The beam catches Sakamaki's face. For a split second, everyone freezes. The American staring at a young man in a shredded gray uniform, his hands half raised, his eyes hollow. Then one soldier shouts, "He's Japanese!" Sakamaki tries to run, but collapses again. His strength is gone. The soldiers rush in, rifles aimed. One kneels, flipping him over, checking for weapons. None. "You speak English?" No answer. Only a raspy breath. They bind his wrists with rope and lead him toward a jeep waiting near the coastal road. Sakamaki stumbles as they pull him along, his bare feet leaving dark prints in the sand. The ride is silent, except for the engine's rumble. The Americans glance at him in the rear mirror, whispering, "Who the hell is this guy? A pilot, maybe? No, look, submarine gear." By dawn, the news reaches Pearl Harbor headquarters. A Japanese officer has been captured alive, the first prisoner of the Pacific War. Admiral Husband E. Kimmel, still reeling from the devastation, stares at the report in disbelief. A submarine? From where? Meanwhile, divers begin scouring the harbor entrance. By mid-morning, they discover the shattered remains of a small, two-man vessel jammed against the reef, the Ha-19. Inside, they find the body of Petty Officer Kiyoshi Inagaki. The wreck's design astonishes American engineers. It's unlike anything they've seen, compact, fast, deadly. Proof that the Japanese attack was even more complex than anyone realized. When interrogated, Sakamaki refuses to speak. He gives only his name, rank, and number. When shown a photo of his destroyed submarine, he closes his eyes, lips trembling. "Inagaki," he murmurs. In the following days, he's transferred to a secure compound, alone, ashamed, alive against his own will. Japanese radio declares all 5 midget subs lost with honor. His name is omitted. To his nation, he no longer exists. But history will remember him, Ensign Kazuo Sakamaki, the man who commanded the Ha-19, the weapon mocked as a toy submarine, yet one that slipped into Pearl Harbor and fired its torpedoes as the Empire of Japan shattered America's peace. The war he helped begin will soon engulf half the world. And in the ashes of it all, he will spend 10 long years as a prisoner, haunted by the roar of that morning, by the faces of the dead, by the thought that even the smallest vessel could change the course of history. The Pacific is calm again, but beneath the calm lies the echo of steel and the ghosts of 5 tiny submarines that once defied the world.